Today, we slice through ice to sight fish trout in crystal clear waters. Learn tricks that trigger these hard-charging fighters on this episode of Dialed In Angling.
Man, I couldn't be more excited to have a day off to go fishing today. I'm actually meeting up with a buddy of mine, Nate Brown. He owns McCardle's Resort. Him and I are fish heads, man. When it comes to new adventures, when we get a day off, guess what? We go fishing. We're gonna do a little trout fishing today, do a little sight fishing. Trout fishing is so exciting. I know Nate's super passionate about it. I cannot wait to get there. Nate, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Good to see you.
Great to see you, buddy. I've been so jacked for this. I could barely sleep last night, man. Oh, let's get this stuff unloaded. Trout fishing is always like an epic adventure. This lake is awesome, dude.
Let's go pop a few holes, take a look around, see where we want to set up.
Love it. There they are, right on the bottom. Nice fish, but a little deep, huh?
Yeah, keep moving.
I think if we just start working that way, huh?
Yeah, get into some of that shallower water and might be a few trout cruising in there looking for some bugs.
That's where I'd be, dude. Right in there.
Let's check it out.
I'm gonna be deep enough here, I bet, huh?
I think this is where we want to be.
Yeah, right on the edge here, vegetation. I like it. Let's get set up. Well, this is perfect, Nate. We got the right angle with these drop-offs here.
Looks good.
I think this is the perfect spot. Hey, you're gonna wanna stick around because when we come back, we're not only trout fishing today, we're sight fishing trout. We're gonna show you how Nate and I get set up and get you dialed in. Fish on.
Dialed In Angling, brought to you by Strike Master, VMC Hooks, Rapala, and Suffix.
Welcome back to Dialed In Angling. Today I'm joined with my good friend Nate Brown, and we're doing a little trout fishing. We hiked into a backwoods lake and we found a great spot to get set up here. Not only are we trout fishing today, but we're sight fishing. I know me personally, it's one of my favorite things to do in the winter months is sight fish, and it's also made me a better angler. But we're gonna show you how we go about cutting holes, because sight fishing is a riot. Let's get started. All right, Nate, I think we just move this house off our holes.
Ooh, that looks good.
Yeah, right along this break here, perfect. Let me grab the auger. Nate just chucked my auger in the snowbank, folks.
Give me that.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna line up our holes. So we've already started our first hole when we checked this spot. So I'm gonna go right next to it, not overlapping that hole, just right up to the edge. I know some people are super particular about their holes. I'm a little bit archaic. I just want to get fishing, but I know if you line up the auger properly, it just drills much smoother. We're basically drilling a sight fishing hole, 3 by 4. I don't care if it's perfectly rectangle. I just want these things to touch so that we can kick that block out and scoop it out. Nate's been shoveling the top to try to keep me as straight as possible. I'm gonna drill out my last hole here. There it is, look at that. Center popped right out. Ooh, ice claw, that makes life easier right there, Nate.
Quick and painless.
You know, I like cleaning out the first hole you cut completely, get all the slush out of there so we're not tripping into that hole. This is big enough where you could fall in, so I like it as clean as possible and get away from the hole before we line up the other one. Oh, this is gonna be epic right here, Nate.
The other way that a lot of people cut their holes is with a ice saw. Some use chainsaws, some use ice saws. You don't have to be as precise. You deal with a little less slush and you get through it pretty quick. It's really handy.
You can definitely drill a much cleaner hole with a saw, but if you don't have a saw, you can obviously get away with an auger. But it's nice when you get a lot of snow and slush, it's so nice to kind of space out your holes a little bit and then saw in between.
There we're floating.
Why do you get the big hole?
Because I sweat for it.
Oh. Just gonna finalize cleaning out the hole. I don't like any debris in the hole at all. I try to get all the little slush pieces out so they're not floating around the hole, because as soon as you see a fish or you start jigging, it starts to cloud your hole up a little bit. Also, I like to shut all the windows, having the windows tight, and then banking the snow around the perimeter of the house is always key to prevent any light from coming through, because you want to maximize what you're seeing down there. It's super clear. Wow, we are on a cliff here. I like it. I cannot wait to get started. Hey, we're gonna turn it over to Travis Frank for today's Ice Bite.
I can't remember the last time I have used a split shot weight on a jigging rod. I certainly don't use it when I'm using walleye spoons, fishing for bigger fish, and I definitely don't use it when I'm fishing for panfish anymore. This right here is a small VMC tungsten jig, and it's a very small profile hook, which is ideal for panfish, but the weight gets it down really fast. In the past, people would put a split shot weight about a foot above your hook to help get the lure down there. But what that split shot weight does is it interferes with your connection to the hook. What do I mean by that? Well, when I'm fishing down there, this here, I'm shaking, here comes a fish, a bluegill specifically. They're notorious for grabbing it and spitting it back out. Now, when they grab hold of this bait, I'm jigging, I feel the tap, I drop the rod tip an inch, and the line goes slack. You can see right there, the line is just floating. I know that the fish is holding onto it, I can set the hook. If I drop that rod tip just a little bit and the fish does not have it, it's gonna fall and there's gonna be a tight line. If I had a split shot weight right there, the weight would fall and I would have no idea what's happening in that fish's mouth with the hook. So these tungsten jigs are heavy, they get down really quick and keep a direct connection between my rod tip and the fish, which ultimately leads to more fish on top of the ice.
Dialed In Angling, brought to you by Strike Master, VMC Hooks, iFish Pro Tip-Ups, and Suffix.
Hey guys, Travis Franken today for Bill Shirk. I have today's ice report. Today we're going to start out in the Glacial Lakes area of South Dakota with Marcus Quam. Marcus, I see that you're out there in the Snow Bear right now. Are the fish biting?
Yeah, we're getting a few fish this morning here. Got a few perch so far.
What are the ice conditions like out there after the cold snap?
Everything's looking like it healed up pretty good. Most of the stuff I've seen in the last few days has been in that 11, 13 inch range.
Well, are the fish biting?
You know, this last week, we've had a few good days on perch. Been seeing some walleyes every day. Singular spoon's probably been our best spoon.
Now we're talking with Nick Sakella up in the Brainerd Lakes area. Nick, what are you seeing on the ice out there?
Mother Nature has been nice to us. That wind came in this weekend and blew open the lake pretty bad, actually. There's cracks all over it. So, I mean, just up, using the resorts, checking the ice as you go. I mean, a lot of these resorts, we're seeing 10 to 12 inches of ice out there, but the cracks are very dangerous, and you need to be using resorts, staked roads. As far as the little lakes and stuff go, we're seeing good ice, upwards of 12 inches on a lot of them.
I know the ice isn't great, but are the fish biting if you can get out there?
Yeah, they sure are. I mean, a lot of times they haven't seen much pressure this year, so.
Next up, we have Pat McSherry in the Bemidji area. Pat, welcome back to the show. Are you on ice up there finally?
Yeah, we finally had that deep freeze, that week and a half of really cold weather. And the weather's actually just warming up now, and guys are getting out ice fishing a lot now. They're able to get vehicles out on the ice. Red Lake out of JR's resort, they're out 8 miles and they're at 17 to 20 inches of ice. The fishing is great. Black Duck Lake, Big Turtle, Bemidji, Winnie. Guys are getting out and catching a lot of fish, and the ice is finally set up to where guys don't have to worry too much.
Okay, our final visit today takes us up to Lake of the Woods with Beef. Brian, what are you seeing on the ice, and what are the fish biting this week?
Well, the cold came in, dramatically improved anything between about 13 to 22 inches of ice. Accesses our resorts are starting to open up to vehicles with wheelhouses.
What are the fish biting on? I see you've got the Mongo jig over your shoulder there. Are you using that?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you could use the rattle roach spoon, or you could use the flash champ or whatever. The Mongo jig, I went smaller, but that tungsten's so much heavier and it gets down there quicker. That's my favorite color right there. And I'm using, I like the medium size, that 16th ounce one.
The ice in the metro has also started to firm up. There's a lot of lakes where there's a lot of people getting out. We're seeing some ice shacks out there, ATV, snowmobile travel. Things will change a little bit this week, which is why we'll be back next week with another ice report.
Let's go pop a few holes, take a look around, see where we want to set up.
Love it.
There we're floating.
So when I'm trout fishing here, since we're in northern Minnesota, a lot of designated trout lakes, you can only use one line. If it's not designated, you can use two, but my workaround here is I've actually got the VMC bullfly down there right now, but if we go for a little span without seeing fish, I've got another bull spoon rigged up. It's got kind of some chandeliered larva on there. But what I like about a spoon or a jigging wrap is I'll fish high in the water column. I'm trying to draw these fish into our locations. They're just cruising these shorelines, looking for baits. But I'll jig that thing aggressively, trying to draw those fish into our area here. If they won't hit the spoon, sometimes trout can be really, really finicky feeders. If they won't hit the spoons, I'll just quickly drop this bullfly back down and try to get it in their face before they move on. There we go, Nate, fish on. Oh, he came up so fast. I had that baited. I drew him in with the spoon, and then boom, he came and just smoked that bait. Not a giant, but man, it's a start. That thing came right from the shoreline. Oh, it's so cool to watch them come in. Oh, they just attacked it. Well, it's a good start, Nate. Oh, get that one back in. On the board, my friend. Go, Nate.
There we go. On the board.
Nice fish, bud.
There is nothing cooler than watching those fish come in when you're sight fishing. That was cool. I had 2 of them come in high and the second one ate. That was pretty exciting.
There we go, Nate. Holy cow, he jumped. Oh my, that was incredible. I didn't even have time to react to that fish. He came in and smoked that spoon. Oh, unreal. It was like I set the hook and he was like coming up with the bait. Oh, that's cool. That's a quick release. I don't care. I just love watching them strike. Oh, they come in like a streak of lightning. That's why it's cool to have this big hole like this. It's amazing how hot some of those fish come in. There we go, Nate. There we go. Grab your net. There we go. Oh. Awesome. Nice fish. Beauty.
Nice colors on that one. So exciting when they come flying back. He came in, darted away, and gave me a second chance. And now we get to say hello to him.
It's like hunting for fish when they come flying in like that. It's like sitting on a deer stand when you see a deer. I absolutely love it, man. Nate, this is a blast. There we go, Nate. Another one. Hey, welcome back. We are smoking the trout. Fish on. Oh, he came up so fast. I'm fishing with my good buddy Nate Brown. These trout do not know when to quit, man. It is so fun. We are sight fishing these fish, and let me tell you, oh, I can't stop laughing. It is so fun when they come in. It's incredible. It's amazing to watch these fish come in and feed. You know, how some of them are aggressively feeding and others will just analyze your bait. You know, I'm using a live bait presentation. Nate's using plastic, but both of us are using very thin pound test. I like to use like a 3-pound test. But this water is just gin clear, and I want to have total control over that bait and making sure that that bait's presented horizontally to them. And even how I'm hooking my live bait on my bull fly, and to keep that thing horizontal so you're not smashing the Eurolarva, is you're just barely hooking that skin right at the tip of the Eurolarva like that. So it sits on there horizontal in the water column. And it'll sit in there, and it's actually moving. I didn't kill the Eurolarva. It's amazing how much these trout analyze baits at times. So if I get those finicky feeders to come in, I want that bait completely horizontal, even to the point where I'm not twitching it, that Eurolarva is still moving. And as you can see in the water, it fits perfectly with the bullfly. All the tentacles that come off that bullfly, all the hairs and everything, trout, it just drives trout wild.
So Tony is using the VMC bullfly, which has a lot of hair. I've just been using more of just a plain tungsten and tipping it with a plastic. The beauty of plastics is there's a whole variety of, they mimic a lot of different insects, so you got a lot of options as far as that goes. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Man, that thing came in and just hammered it. And these things are so high energy, so sporadic. Having that net is certainly helpful and fun to use when sight fishing. See you next time. Too much fun.
There he is. What I love about fishing a jigging wrap in a sight fishing hole is the fact that that bait moves horizontally. and it'll really rip around in the water and you can watch it, but then it comes back to a dead stop position right underneath you. And those trout, they tend to analyze the bait, so I'll put one larva on the bottom treble hook so they can key on it. You can also use plastic, or if you're using some sort of scent, putting that on the bottom treble hook will draw them right to your location. Boy, Nate, when they saw that jigging wrap come down, just like the spoon, they come flying in. Hey, that is a beauty right there. That's what we've been looking for. Isn't it crazy how when those big ones come in, those small trout just take off?
Look at the colors on that guy.
Oh, beautiful. You just come in and smash it?
Yeah, I had the smaller one looking at it and he just bullied him right out of the way. That is amazing.
Oh, they're so beautiful. What an awesome creature, man. I just love catching these trout. Oh, what a blast. There he goes, dude. Man, what a great day catching trout. Sight fishing trout is one of my favorite ways to fish. They come in with that level of excitement. Like we talked about, it's almost like deer hunting. When you see them come in, that level of heart-pounding excitement. Say there's trout fishing areas all over the Midwest. You can find trout lakes all over where you find fishable ice. Cut yourself a sight hole and you'll have an experience of a lifetime. Hopefully Nate and I helped you get dialed in.